All right, welcome back to Finding Truth podcast here on Unscripted Truth TV. Logan here with Austin once again, and tonight's episode will be a little bit of a break from the usual starts that we have during NASCAR season. But we will be touching on it just because it wasn't completely dead this weekend. So they managed to squeeze in one last ritual, and I say ritual specifically with it being 4-5. If you know, you know. And so we'll touch on that the little weekend plug they had before this holy day, where apparently you can't turn left going fast on this day for Jesus or Ishtar. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But then we do want to touch on the moon fun, and we definitely want to get feedback on what you guys are seeing about the moon, thinking and seeing about the moon stuff, because it's not like I'm sitting here paying super attention to it. I did do a little bit of digging into it, and I just want to have some commentary about it, just because I can only imagine. I kind of want to pick your guys' brain in the community. Do you have friends that are, I mean, we all had people and we all had friends that double masked, or maybe not double masked, but masked or vaxxed, one of the two, or both, or triple, or 5 more things that were asked by the government. So just want to see, do you guys have family or people that that are super into this whole moon garbage? If so, we'd like to hear about it. But on top of that, with it being Easter Sunday, well, obviously 4-5, the real holiday is the anniversary of Kurt Cobain's death. And if you're no stranger to the channel, we're not going to let this day slip by without a hot mention. So we'll clean up the episode with a little bit of that. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, I'll send it down to you, Austin, in the interim. How's it going, bud?
Absolutely, as good as can be here on the 4-5. Yep, here we are, April, and the new year is here. And it's it's been, I'd say it's been a quick week, but it's been definitely been a feel of feels. I'll say that much. It was interesting, April 1st, Wednesday. The real new year kicked in. It's been a pretty good week. All things considered, it's the weather's starting to shape up. Things are starting to bloom, the buds and everything, and things are starting to kick off. It's there's definitely a very interesting vibe in the air. It's definitely just I've been watching just the this whole week kind of play out. It's been pretty interesting. It's been basically what we said it was going to be. I mean, this whole month is just littered with every day you got to pay attention to the fine print, and that's kind of what this week's been. I watched them kind of spray this whole warm front in this week, and it's been just I don't know, it's been just kind of getting the best of me. It's making me just feel tired and just drained. Like Wednesday, Thursday, I was kind of feeling a bit tired. Friday, I was feeling pretty good. So like I was leaving the trampoline park. Then I started feeling like pretty tired, pretty exhausted. Yesterday, I was just like tired, drained, exhausted all day. Today, same thing, just tired, drained, exhausted all day. And the weather's nice, but you look up at the sky and it's just today was one of the worst springs I've ever seen it ever. I mean, today was up there at the top of the top. I mean, they really obliterated the sky today. Absolutely atrocious. It's not as bad as it was earlier, but it's still pretty bad. Not as bad, but even yesterday. I mean, yesterday was pretty nice overall, and I was out near Enumclaw there, near Casey Kane's hometown. I was pretty close, and it was pretty nice. And then we were out there for a couple hours. And by the time we were coming back, it went from like pretty much clear sky, and then on the way back, like the whole sky was already white, and they did that in like just a couple hours. And this morning, it was just I was on my way to the gym, and I was leaving, I was driving around, and the sky was just completely white. And definitely having an effect, making me feel like crap. And the spraying is just, I mean, like I said, it's just on an all-time level right now. So we'll have to pay attention to, how bad the spraying is and how much it affects us. Because something that, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it tonight, because it's just such a heavily feel like underrated topic. But I feel like it's people know about it, but then when it's like really bad and people really should be pointed out, it's like that's when people don't talk about it at all, it seems, or it just kind of goes under the radar. But other than that, it's been a pretty decent week. The 4 or 5. It's always a big day when this rolls around. Yeah, this episode was kind of interesting. We're supposed to have a member from my investment community, Talia, on tonight, but then she something came up and she's busy, so she won't be on. She might be on in a couple weeks. So I was looking forward to having her on tonight, since we didn't have any NASCAR, but then it turns out we really did have some NASCAR, and that's why we didn't have NASCAR today, was just that we could have NASCAR, and we'll get into that in a minute, because they had the whole 4 or 5, 95, all the numbers we've been talking about. They had this all planned out for a long time this week with the massive ritual that went down yesterday, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, it's hopefully she'll be on soon. Maybe next couple weeks, get her on here and start just getting more information, getting more people on here, and just looking forward to just hopefully her coming on, and then what she can help and provide to, with answering questions and presenting things and talk about things, and just getting not only what I'm doing out there, but this work, and help spreading this and doing things. So definitely looking forward to that. So it's kind of a bummer tonight, but we still have a pretty good show. It did feel like one of those. Today had a weird vibe to it too. It did feel, it's like, man, it's just like, felt like we should have been out there like pounding pavement and doing stuff. But obviously, if we were out there, just be me and you, or just be me, or whatever. I mean, there's not like there's really anyone to really do anything with anymore. So it's kind of just and then if you had a nice setup and where to go and what to do. But I feel like today, I mean, I could have talked about anything. I could have been pointing out the spraying. I could have been talking about Cobain. I could have been talking about this, talking about that. So, yeah, I think tonight this episode will make up for things. I think it'll be a good episode, and I think depending on where, like I said, the month leads. If we get to Leon or some other people on, or just get some more info or something else to kind of get things popping. But I'm excited anyways. I big things are happening, and I think that like I said, the way this week has kind of been feeling, it's just here we are talking about the real new year, the new start of the year, and here it is, and just like here's Easter Sunday 4 or 5, and it's just like, it's just crazy. And just thinking we got so many days to talk about and there's so many big days, just like every day, so there's going to be things that pass and things that come up. So it's not like there's going to be, you can't hit every single day. Obviously there's only, 4 episodes for the month of April. So, we have some big ones though. 4 or 5, we got the 4/12, the 4/19, the 4/26. So, and April 19th, that's gonna be a very interesting day as well. So it's not like we're, we'll get in what we can, but when it comes to April, it can be very hard to stay on top of things.
Yeah, I just want to kind of in order there. You obviously mentioned the spraying, which we talked about a little bit in the lead up, and we'll probably go into it some more. But what's really messed up about it is coming home from work today. We had to bring my daughter to work, so on the way back, it's just like it hit me hard, because it's like I spent a good amount of my childhood finding a soft place in a park, or at the dirt bike, or at the jumps, as we call them, which not for dirt bikes, but for like mountain bikes and BMX jumps we had near our house. I'd find a spot to just chill. I wouldn't be inside during the summer. My mom barely saw me during the summer. She didn't know where I was, but I was just out and about on my bike or playing basketball with the homies or somewhere. But a lot of that time was just, gazing up at the sky and like looking at the clouds and seeing shapes in the clouds and just that feeling you can't get back. But they were clouds. They were clouds. My poor baby. She's sitting there trying to tell me about a shape in the clouds. And I'm just like, there's not a cloud in the sky, honey. Those are not clouds. Those aren't clouds. Those are just lines and haze that they're spraying. And she knows about the spray and all that stuff. Obviously, she's my baby. She's my daughter. She knows about all that stuff. But it's just booty, dude. I just like, it just hit me. I was like, man, these kids are not going to have a reality that's real. They're going to be they're going to think that clouds are big, blanketed, white skies. They're going to think, just think about what they're going to think, man. And a lot of these, older kids, potentially older kids now, when they were 5 during COVID, they're already, 11. Their whole point of view is just going to be absolutely cooked.
Yeah, it's just, and that's the thing. I mean, I was, yesterday too, I was just, when I was sitting, I was waiting and we were up there and I was just, I was laying back, just chilling in my car and I was just looking up at the sky. And that's what I was doing. I was like you did when you were a kid. I was just looking up at the trees. I was looking at the sky and the spraying wasn't super bad when I was sitting there, but it got really bad. And like it was amazing just like sitting there and then driving home, how they managed to, that's the other thing too. It's not just like what a cloud even is, but just the way they just change the weather. It's like, oh look, it's just randomly getting overcast. It's like, no, they literally it went from a clear sky in like an hour or two, and literally they turned the whole thing white on the way home. Like it was causing like glare on the way home because the sky was all blanketed with white and just crap, and I could barely even see on the way home. And it wasn't just the sun blinding me; it's just all the crap they're spraying. It's how bad it affects you, and just like, that's what I was just sitting there and. Before it got bad, I was just leaning back, looking up at the sky, looking at the trees, just like, just like old times. But yeah, I mean, what the weather, how the weather works, how they bring like I said, how I watched them bring this whole warm front in this week and watch them manipulate all this stuff. Yeah, people are just gonna and it's not just they can't see the spraying in the sky and they think, oh well. These are clouds, and it's like, no, it's not a cloud at all. It's like, yeah, that's not just the weather changing randomly or just a random front moving in. They really brought that whole thing in. They really just changed the whole skyline in an hour. It's just like unreal how this stuff continues to just go under the radar. It's unbelievable, and you'd think with days like today that a 4 or 5, people would be extra vigilant. I didn't see anybody or hear anybody talking about it, pointing it out. People are sick, people are tired, people aren't feeling good, people are just exhausted. It's like, hey, you wonder why. Why is your health so bad? Why are you sick? Why are you all messed up? Why don't you feel good? It's like, yeah, did you ever think about just looking up? I mean, yeah, you look up, it's like, yeah, that can't be good for anybody. And you got the spider webs that come down on people's cars and people's stuff and all that. So that whether it touches you or it comes down or not, it's still getting you.
Yeah, the extent of people looking up is on their phone, and that's about as far as they'll look up anything. But yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, what's your guys's because we're West Coast dudes and both Washington, different, which is funny because like our weather's quite different. You're in northern Washington, I'm in, kind of the southern, not kind of southern, very most southern Washington. And it's crazy. It's been crazy. It's like we've had similar weather this week for the most part, but other weeks when you're telling me you got no rain, it's been nothing but rain here. And obviously there's the Cascade Range and things of that nature. There's enough explanation for it. It is quite interesting, and just a potential reminder that at the tips of Washington and Oregon were if you look up their website, were HARP facilities at the northernmost Oregon coast and the northernmost Washington coast, some Seattle, some HARP facilities that they closed them down though. They don't need those things anymore.
Yeah.
They don't work. It did work. Anyway,
It's the big conspiracy, anyways.
Yeah, it's just they built it. Oopsie, they were building it to hold Twinkies for the zombie apocalypse. That's what its real purpose was.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty high and smoke a lot of weed to think they can control the weather with something called HARP. I mean, God, what are these people? There must be some real good stuff in that weed, boy. Yeah.
You've been reading too much Kurt Vonnegut, all right? You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, you did mention that they did. I mentioned it a bit, and then you kind of led into it even further that they did leave. They left the door open.
Oh yeah.
For a quick little hitter that you could have missed pretty easily. I know you looked into this a little bit more than I did, but just from the outside looking in, like I was telling you in the lead up to, I didn't even know they had any races. I didn't think about it. I assumed that it was NASCAR was off because there was no Cup Series, but kind of forgetting that Easter is considered, that kind of holiday, can close things down. I don't think any other sports are honoring that, but supposedly NASCAR will. I don't know if that's even the reason. Is it even the reason that they don't have a NASCAR race? Probably, but anyway. So yeah, I didn't even think to look into any other series. And what do you know? They have a famous YouTuber, Mr. Cletus McFarland, which, that's his stage name, but his slave name is Lawrence Garrett Mitchell. And which is very interesting too, because they refer to him as his stage name. It's for what I wanted to talk about it. You have more like interesting details behind it, which is great. But what I noticed right off the bat is that this is just such obvious melding of social media, YouTube, TikTok, those kinds of like I was going to say groups, but what is it? Communities with the NASCAR community, just like they blend all the sports together. You got football coaches as team owners, former, legendary basketball players as team owners, and just they do that kind of stuff in all sorts of different sports. We talk about that all the time, but this is just to me such a clear blending of trying to bring a huge YouTube audience as an influx to NASCAR to blend the two together. And you can see that is a concerted effort that they've been making. I mean, just look at all the podcasts. Of course, every sport has their podcast. They're doing this in every sport. I'm not singling out NASCAR. I'm just saying this is the thing that like this where they have a strategy in mind, but this is one of the linchpins of their strategy is bringing this Cletus McFarland guy in. And it's just like, what a name. It's like, it's almost kind of backhanded. The name is almost kind of like poking fun. And they'll give you a good reason why he has that name too. It's like a family nickname. And I've looked into this. It's a family nickname. It has nothing to do with like even NASCAR or like hillbilly type behavior. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's a family nickname, but come on. That's just what they tell you. Of course, the name is about as redneck as you can make. And yeah, so it's this forced blending of communities. And, I wouldn't doubt that before too long, there'll be, right now we're in the blackout stage. Just wait. You're going to find out that YouTube is in the process of becoming one of the main streamers of NASCAR. Just like look at Netflix. Netflix is getting basketball games and like football games. Amazon Prime is one of the main NFL guys. You can't even watch a bunch of NFL games because you don't have Amazon Prime now. Like, what the hell? It used to be cable you had to fight with, which was its own bullshit. Honestly, I'm not excusing what cable was doing before, but nowadays it's just like proprietary streaming is the way to go. And just wait. YouTube and Google you'll find out that they'll have their claws in NASCAR. And because we've talked about it several times that, you try to watch streams and they take them down right away. Well, just wait until, you're going to find out because they have a contract beginning with YouTube or Google or something like that allows them to stream their content on YouTube. And then you'll look back at this and say, oh, so they bring in all these YouTube subscribers and viewers, and then all of a sudden they unveil a streaming. I'm just this is just conjecture here. I'm just saying this is the pattern that they've followed. Think about Amazon Prime Football. Oh, what was that after? What was there anything that happened that made like a huge influx in like ordering from home? Did anything happen ever in our recent history where a lot of people just ordered from home, almost like they didn't want to go out ever? Yeah, but I'm sure that they were just taking advantage of what happened. There was no plan for that. I'm sure Amazon was just like, wow, well, look at this. I think we could provide a service. I wake up and I put my shoes on and I say, how can I help? How can I help all my fellow people? They eat their eggs Benedict served on a naked Puerto Rican boy the same way everybody else does, Anyway, sorry for that image, but the people, the overlords are not thinking about us when they wake up. Not thinking about how to help us. Let's put it that way. They try to leave it at that, but yeah. Anyway, that was a little long-winded, as I tend to do. You're like, wait, who is this guy though? Are you going to even talk about him? I'll leave that to you. Take it away. That was just my 2 cents, and hopefully that you can keep that in the back of your head, especially if it ends up playing out. I tend to be pretty good with these narratives. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this week, the way they set this up, we were, it was interesting because we knew they had this week off, and we're like, oh, there's a reason why there's no race on Sunday. There's no race today. There's a reason why they had the week off, and this is exactly why. And they had it set for this whole ritual, and it's this week went pretty deep. I mean, they had to. I mean, this whole situation took a long time to link all this up because there's a lot to this, and this is all very condensed too because they had to do this a very certain way to get this script. And it's just as deliberate as you could ever see it. I showed you too how how John Deere was it's the official sponsor of the MLB this year too. How they got that up this week. That was like the first thing I sent you. And see, they're just dragging on the Chad Little into this, and what's so interesting too. This all happened yesterday on 4-9 or 9-4, and Cobain dead in 94, and things happened 94. Chad Little equals 94, and they had to when I looked into this yesterday, I was looking at the race and stuff, how this was playing out, and we've talked about William Stolilich. We've talked about him before. We brought him up, and this is where this whole thing really starts because they got the Cobain with him and the Kurt with him and the 4-5, but then they also got it with Cletus McFarland doubling down on this, multiplying the mockery. So for them to go this far with it was really, I've never seen them go this deep into something. William Stolilich, he's got the 65 and 97, just like Kurt Donald Cobain in the same exact ciphers. Not to mention, William equals Nirvana, so he's got Nirvana in his name, and the race is on 4-4 for the the 4-5 Easter weekend, so he's got that going as well. Plus, it was his very first win. We've talked about him; he'd never won until yesterday. Gets his first win in his 42nd race. So Kurt Cobain 42, Austin 42, Jesuit 42, all the 42s. So they finally give it to him, and of course, this is in North Carolina where, all this stuff it's all linked up. You got Chad Little in North Carolina, you got Casey Kane, North Carolina, you got Biffle's plane crash, North Carolina. We talked about, all this stuff, and
he drives the 77, doesn't he? I might be wrong about that.
Solich drives the 18.
Oh, the 18. Okay.
For Joe Gibbs, yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's interesting how they.
What I think in the ARCA race, I think the ARCA race driver drives a 77, the one who won. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I just, North Carolina equals 77. So that could have been a clue for that guy winning that race. If it was at Rockingham, I think it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, NASCAR used to race at Rockingham. That was the. It was always a really good race, but they haven't raced there since 2004. And the thing is, the last time was on February 22nd. It was on February 22nd, 2004 was the last time they raced there, and that was Matt Kenseth just barely won over Casey Kane. It was Casey Kane's second race, and he almost won. It was a side-by-side finish, so they went out with a good race. And then it's interesting because Rockingham was also called The Rock, and The Rock would end up retiring 21 days later at WrestleMania on March 14th, 2004. So that was his last match till he came back. So it's interesting. You have NASCAR's last race of The Rock, and The Rock retires 21 days later, 21, like Austin, like Jesuit, and then it's WrestleMania 20, NASCAR equals 20. So they really got, that was kind of a big ritual at the time, ending there, and then with The Rock and stuff, and then now they're racing back at Rockingham, and you look at Rockingham, it's got the 54 in there twice. Like NASCAR Nirvana, and of course, all these rituals taking place on the 4-5, 5-4, Chad Little, and then it's just like everything we've been talking about, how they brought this together, in the North Carolina, Rockingham, North Carolina's got the 121, Rockingham NC's got the 62, The Rock's got the 109 and 80 and 35, and it's just the way they set this whole up. Cletus McFarland, you look at his name, he's got the Freemasonry right in there with the stage name with the 58, and it's got the 95 for 4 or 5, literally his birthday supposedly. Born in April of 95, just like me supposedly as well, with the on 405. So they really, to pick the character for this, to give William Solich his first win, and it's like, okay, that was already pretty impressive what they did there with the William and the Nirvana, and how his name's got the 65-97 like Kurt Donald Cobain, and to do it on 4-4 for the 4-5 weekend, and to do it in his 42nd race. You had to get a lot there, but then to bring this other just this goofy guy, this weirdo into the mix, and you see why, and look at McFarland. It's got the 54 and it's got the 72. Lawrence has got the 81, the 45, so he's got the 45 there, the ritual. Lawrence Garrett Mitchell's got that 108, so he's got numbers in his name, and you listen to what he was even saying. I turned left for Greg Biffle. If you write that out, it equals 119. Just really goofy stuff. He's obviously, like I said, he's a YouTuber. And the thing was too, he ran 2 races yesterday. He was in the ARCA, and he got his best finish ever in ARCA, his first top 5 finish. He never finished top 5 in ARCA, so he got his best finish, first top 5 ever in ARCA. And then he went on to finish 32nd in the O'Reilly race in his very first race, and he did it in the 33 car. of all the car numbers, he's going to be in the 33, of course. And what's interesting too is William Solich just had his half birthday the day before because he was born October 3rd. So April 3rd would have been his half birthday. And he turned 19 and a half years old. So he's kind of like a Connor Zilic 19, 19 and a half. One of these young guys that's coming up right now, late teens. So you have Solich win the race a day after his half birthday, and then you have Cletus McFarland a day before his birthday.
Make his
Day
debut.
before, make his debut as the other guy wins. The other guy's making his debut. So to set that all up perfectly for the ritual, his 31st birthday's today, so he's 31 today. His 32nd year of life. And he finished the 32nd, so I guess maybe there was something there. But yeah, you got William Solich driving the 18 for Joe Gibbs getting it done, and then you got McFarland driving the 33 for Richard Childress, and then I guess he drives the 30 in ARCA for Retta Jones Racing. It's kind of interesting too, because you put their numbers together, 30, 33, and 18, it equals 51, like conspiracy. So I kind of thought that was a little bit interesting too. And if you add the 33 and the 30, you get 63. If you add the 18 and the 30, you get 48, like Illuminati. So it's kind of interesting what they did with just even the car numbers and just the whole situation of them setting this whole thing up, because I mean this obviously, like I said, it took a long time to set something like this up. I mean, and of course they don't NASCAR, they don't race at Rockingham anymore, so it's but they always did, and they haven't raced since 2004, and Kurt Busch won the championship that year. And then it's funny, it was Casey Kane almost won that race, the last one, and side by side. I remember that. I actually remember watching that race too. That was a good one. I remember watching that race that day. And then yesterday I was almost at Casey Kane's house in Enumclaw while that was going on. I was watching that and looking at this. I was thinking of Casey Kane. And then remember, Casey Kane is also going to be 46 on 410. So he's got a birthday coming up on, he'll be 46. And then Jamie Little has her birthday coming up on the 9th. She's going to be 48. So Jamie Little's going to be moving on from 47 to 48 like Illuminati. You got Casey Kane going from the 4-5 going on to the 4-6 like Sacrifice. So maybe Casey Kane's got to watch out. But Jack Roush coming up on April 19th. We'll have episode 83 is going to be his 84th birthday. He's turning 84. So that's a big one. You got, obviously Chad Little turning 63 with Michael Jordan 63. And you got, obviously Michael Jordan equals 59. Chad Little equals 59. And then you have, like I said, you got Chad Channing and Kurt Cobain that just turned 59. So yeah, this is just a massive ritual they pulled off. We talk about North Carolina all the time, and this is the place to do it. I mean, NASCAR Nirvana, but NASCAR Nirvana, that's the 54. I mean, look at Rockingham, and 54. I mean, with the 4-5s, the 5-4s. I mean, this was just ridiculous how they set this up yesterday. I mean, even you just listen to what he said in the interviews too. I mean, how just goofy and retarded they sound as people. I mean, just how much they got to poke fun at you, yet like you said, people can't see the world as a stage.
Absolutely right, and like the interviewer just blowing so much smoke up his ass the entire time.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, just go make out already or something. What is happening here?
Yeah, what did Kyle Petty say in the beginning? He's like, smack my butt or smack my ass and smack my face. Like,
yeah,
smack my ass, smack my face. I'm with Cletus McFarland. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why you got to be so goofy with this guy? Like, I mean, look at this guy. This guy is goofy as can be. He looks goofy. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's got just this weirdo name. Just a complete weirdo. Just comes out of the woodwork. I'm a YouTuber and. You're barely an ARCA, but you're just going to start this race because, you're going to start it for exactly the reasons I just said you were going to start it. And then even the interview is just got to be weird. Then, like, the interview he gives with the ARCA one, I was just out there turning left for Greg Biffle, man. It's like, what? What? Like what? I'm just here to turn left for Greg Biffle, man. And then Kyle Petty being all weird. It's just, oh man, these people.
But yeah, that the driver of that ARCA race, Tristan McKee, he is in the 77 car at North Carolina. So there's, if we were to look into these things, I'm sure they're doing it I'm positive they're doing it by the numbers in this series as well. So something to think about. And obviously Menards being a large sponsor in the Cup Series too. So Wesley Slim, but wanted to point something else to you. There's a Mason in the ARCA series as well. I had it up here. How did I get it? I guess I could go. Oh, this is nice. Do they have this on the regular NASCAR site too? Mason Massey.
So, Mason Massey. He's extra sassy.
Nicolopolis. Holy shit.
Nicolopolis.
They got a whole city driving for him. Yeah, Robusto.
Robusto.
Oh, is that a female? Hey, let's go. Maybe.
Robusto, you got this. No 55.
Interesting.
Isabella.
Anyway, so yeah, they still got the 77 in, so that they complete a ritual, they complete a number ritual, and then they completely smoke screen it out with this Cletus McFarland character. And yeah, that's hilarious. Of course, in case you guys missed it, I mean, he did mention it, but just so you can physically see it too. This is all a day before his birthday, and of course, his birthday being on Easter, and whether you celebrate it as a Christian, a Catholic, or whatever, a Hindu, whatever you celebrate this on this day, if you do, that doesn't mean shit. The people that run this shit, they care about these dates, and they make it quite clear that they do, and their functions and their rituals are always surrounding these dates. Whether or not we can discuss. We don't need to argue. We can discuss and talk, our theories about what they are. That's fantastic. It's fun. But let's not say that they're not doing it. The discussion won't be about whether they are or not. I'm not going to have that discussion. That discussion is pointless. If you can't see that they are, then that's the base level. That's the baseline. Okay, can't have a real discussion then. I mean, unless my job is to convince you of something, which I don't think it's really anyone's necessarily job to convince anybody of something, it does help to have people convey information in a way that's palatable. That goes for any type of information. That goes for learning as a human being. You're not just going to inherently know everything. If you're a specialist in something, you should share your specialty. And in that same regard, when it comes to this knowledge, it feels almost like a specialty at this point because so many people are ignorant of it. It's like arc welding. How much percentage of the population can arc weld or is qualified to arc weld? Probably a very small amount. Does that mean only those people can do it? No, it just means that, those specialties haven't been taught and that, it hasn't. Obviously there's plenty of people, reasons why people don't want to do hard work and things like that nature. But I'm just saying it's a similar enough analogy. I think hope I made my point. But yeah, they perform these rituals on these holy days. And it's pretty clear that they were able to fit in, the Robusto, narrative that they had playing out here. They were able to kind of unveil it all while still sneaking in their main ritual there for the ARCA race. And then obviously you mentioned the whole William thing. And if you guys are unclear about the whole William with why it matters here the day before Easter and Kurt Cobain Day, of course I have this all the way at the bottom. Woohoo. But if you notice here, William is an exact 4-cipher match with Nirvana, shares gematria with suicide, fake death, multiple other at least a couple other things too. And if you're familiar with our William work, well, that's oops, didn't mean to do that, but it's okay.
It's not just my middle name. Goes much deeper. There's a lot of Williams out there.
Absolutely. And one William that is worth a mention with talking about Nirvana is William Corgan, Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
He was very close to that whole ordeal, and worth a mention there too. And just funny enough, I was doing a little bit of research, and which, by the way, Billy, someone needed to sit his ass down back in the day. Like, what? I never knew he was like a teen model. Like, he could have been like a front page teen model. I'm not sitting here trying to like glaze or anything. I'm just, I can understand these things. I mean, keep in mind that Kurt Cobain was a fashion idol. If you guys don't know that, he was considered a fashion idol. He was on all sorts of fashion magazines. He wasn't just some grunge guy. Your favorite guys never stick to what they are. They never will. They'll instantly flip a switch and they'll become like a Gucci salesman at the drop of a hat. Like all your favorite artists will. He did the same thing. He sold out to fashionistas. He was a bit, his look was like a fashion trend that was pushed from the fashion industry. Anyway, but yeah, Billy Corgan back in the day, he was, like I said, I'm not trying to glaze him too hard. It's just he's such a ugly, vampiric little guy, little man. He's not actually that little. He's actually pretty tall.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's a tall. He's like 6'5". He's tall.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. He looks like a little. Once his hunchback comes in, you'll see he'll take on that look. But you know what I mean. Just his post Smashing Pumpkins. Since he's taken off, he shaved his head and has that strange look. But back in the day, either way, I didn't know this. I didn't know back in the day he was like a good looking dude, and with flowing hair and stuff. And honestly, he looked a lot like Kurt Cobain, like more than you would ever. If you in your mind sit there and look at Billy Corgan in your head, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. You got to go look at pictures of when he was a teen. He looked a lot like Kurt Cobain. It's crazy, actually, how similar they were. Anyway, without getting into the details, maybe we'll bring that up at another time. But it's just this whole like contrived story about him, about how he's found out through going on the Howie Mandel show that he could be possibly brothers or half brothers with Bill Burr. And if you think about Bill Burr and Billy Corgan, they do look a lot alike. They look extremely alike. They are basically spitting images of each other. But then also Billy Corgan's current spouse is like, her last name is Mendel. It was just like, and then you think of like the mandala effect. Anyway, it's just you get two Bill stories. You get this Mendel weird. It's just, I'm sure it's like the Hebrew pronunciation. Like, I'm sure it comes down to like in a specific pronunciation, you wouldn't pronounce Mandel the same way you would Mendel. English has a way of stretching every word and consonant to say a certain way. Like we talk about multiple times, it's a coding language. It is coding for computers and for people who know how to index and code things like we do, because we are raised on the English alphabet. So we all learn how to do that at a young age. Not saying sophisticated, but we get the basic source code. But yeah, for the older languages and stuff like that, they didn't have 80 words for the same thing. They had one. So you wouldn't have Mandel and Mendel. They would be like, okay, the root of the word is del, and men are the same thing. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't have a different word for it. Mandel and Mendel would be the same word. So I'm sure we're getting stuck on the details is really probably hurting us as far as understanding the connections. Or I'm sure we're missing a lot of connections because we're like, it could be just the simple spelling is different in English, and so we'll stop there because no, it's different. It's different. But if you think about the people who are ruling over us, that they're not playing off a playbook that was written today. They're playing off something that was written a long time ago. And anyway, I just wanted to get my 2 cents in about that. It's just like, so it's just these weird connection things. But yeah, got Billy Corgan, and I didn't plan on it, but I did. Little snap went in my head. I'm like, yeah, that is another William.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's good.
William list is a very long one. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and especially when we're talking NASCAR, it's just there's so many drivers that the name has nothing to do with William, and then you look it up, William. It's just like, what? Wait, hold up. Yep. Chase Elliott, William. Your name's William? Hold up.
Rusty William. William Rusty.
So yeah. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're at a pretty good transition period if we want to have enough time to talk about the Kurt Cobain thing. I know we were alluding to it, but it's gonna bleed into our other topics as it is. It's his big day. But there is one thing else, one other thing I did want to talk about before we got there. It's this whole Artemis 2 moon mission bonanza. It's just, there's like a level of disappointment. I was trying to convey it to you before we went live, but man, and I said in the lead up too, we are interested if you guys have your anecdotal stories about people who potentially believe this, or do you believe it, or where are you at with this? You can also not care. That's also a great position to have on this. I personally don't, put any stake in this, but it is something that does exist, and it's another form of their propaganda, and it's just their most current form. Now, you're talking to people who went to public school learning about the Titanic, and they just reprised the Titanic. I say just, but it was, for most people, they're like, huh? What's anything to do with the Titan? It's just like people already forget about the whole Titan submarine thing. But, which was, oh my gosh, there's another ridiculous, ritual paying homage to the Titanic. That definitely happened, and then definitely happened the way they said it happened, and definitely happened with the ship they said that it happened to. Definitely, I'm sure there's Leonardo da Vinci was, or Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever his name is, and what is the other, Kate Middles, whatever, I don't know the other chick's name. Yeah, I'm sure that their story was a close enough depiction of to what really happened. Anyway, but yeah, we grew up with these bunk stories, and so we're no stranger to them. Just like that's where you can tell like that school was just like the first runs for them to get this propaganda circulated. It's their way of normalizing you and getting you, used to the water that you're going to be sitting in, the scummy shit water that they're going to have you sitting in, just cycling the same things, and you're just going to accept them because that's like the cycle that you're on, that from birth you're put onto this cycle and you don't realize it. And so, yeah, obviously you understand what I'm talking about, more moon mission garbage. And you think in 2026, they got to do it different. They're going to get a Twitch streamer to go to the moon or something like that can stream the entire thing. Something's got to be done, something different. No. The different is not their agenda. Their agenda is not different. It is the same shit. Take it, eat it, say you like it, and ask for some more. put your hands out. Can I have some more? That's what they want you to do. And that it's, do you know people with their hands out asking for more? That's my question to you, community. Do you have your hands out asking for more? I would hope not. If you made it this far, and that is you, shout out to you. I'm glad you're here. Listen up, pay attention, take some notes. But, yeah, I just want to pick your brain and also see what their community is at on this. And while we're talking about it, I can, I guess, show some of their groundbreaking, their space-breaking photography and live images. Dude, it's just, when I first saw them, I was just, my breath was just taken away. It's like I thought I was in the vacuum of space. I couldn't breathe. How about you?
Takes a lot to be an astronaut.
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 Look at them. Look at them working hard in the green light. Look at that. The alien lights they have. Wow. Look at that. Look at that code. They have to go upside down and they're just like, the digital mainframe is at 34%. Ugh, crank it up. Look at this guy. What? Why did he get to see? Are we paying his ass? Can't you see it all day long? Let us see it, damn it. And what is the light? I thought the moon wasn't I thought the moon was lit up by the sun. Of course, they're always waffling about that. Before too long, we'll get their picture of the moon. Oh, look at this. There's the proof you needed. Look at this. You want the whole thing live? No. Because we're not live. Because it's not there. It's not what we're saying. That's what you're going to get. And you guys understand. I hope that you guys have dug at least a little bit deep to understand that these are direct jokes from what's been uncovered about the Spielberg moon landing. How they framed the windows to show you Earth and the moon. I hope that's exactly what they're doing here. They're just doing it all over again with like an updated format, which is really not that updated. Nothing looks state of the art or new. They say that, they add things to their spacesuits. And by the way, I want to mention this. They put out games a year or two in advance of these things. And then those people in those games will be wearing something like this. And so it'll be set in like 400 years from now. So it's futuristic. So it's in our heads subconsciously. Futuristic look. That's what the future looks like. That's what space looks like. Space travel means, potentially puffy or sleek, like sleek and shiny. And that's what and then they'll unveil their stupid suits. And it's just like, yeah, you're going through a radiation belt that supposedly exists. You're breathing all day long, in those suits. And here we go. Yeah, look at that. Look at the state of the art orange and blue. Like looks like the Syracuse mascots or something like. I don't even know. Looks like the post office.
Like the Boise Broncos, yeah, the orange and blue.
Oh yeah. There you go. Boise State astronauts. That's what they are.
The Boise boys.
And for all we know, they're all boys. I mean, this. One of the strongest chins there. I mean, this guy's got a strong booty chin. Can't deny this guy.
I could like cut cast iron with that thing. Saw it right in half.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen I don't know. I don't know how to put that. I was gonna say I've seen prettier men. That's just a weird way to say that. I've seen more
feminine men than that.
And I mean, also her name is Christina Koch. So, just in case you were on the fence about what they like to do there, I mean, it'd be awkward. Wouldn't it be like an awkward thing to have three dudes and a chick within, a foot of each other at all times for over a week? Where is this a psychological operation? Obviously it is, but who's it on? Is it on these guys or is it on us? I think it's on both.
You got the lady cocks, the lady cock with you.
Yep, that's absolutely true. They played that ritual.
Christina got a wiener.
I haven't. Oh, okay. Wait, I have not seen a smoking commercial in so long. That was crazy. A Swisher Sweets commercial. Holy on NBC. I didn't even know they could make commercials about it. I thought that was like illegal.
Must have went back. We must be back in the Winston Cup days. Coming back. We're making a comeback. Winston Cup next year. We're going all the way back. That's the sign right there.
It's definitely moving that direction. There's nothing really I want to like read about this. I was hoping to find some decent pictures. Okay, that's interesting. That's Hanson's pendant, the Canadian guy. Just want to show you something interesting. That's interesting. I just brought this up out of the blue because obviously Ishtar is related. You know, if you guys know, if you can make that connection that Ishtar and Easter, even the whole story of Easter and the stars and things of that nature. But anyway, yeah, that apparently this guy wears this pendant, and let's see. One says moon and back. Oh, they all say moon and back. I wonder what is that, like a constellation in the middle or something? Anyway, interesting that is the symbol of Ishtar, and this guy's in space on Easter. Unbelievable. And yeah,
Outer space.
Absolutely.
He's out there, man. I'm telling you.
Whole world's out to space.
Far out, man.
Let's see. Let's take a look at some of these groundbreaking imagery that we paid for. You know, when they're not having poop problems. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. There it is, folks. Where are you? Why do they always got to take pictures of Africa?
Yeah, for real. It's always Africa.
And it's always different sizes.
Yep.
There's Saudi Arabia, the Gulf. And they're like, this picture's taken at night. This is a long exposure shot. And the lights you're seeing there, it's from the lit up, blah, blah, blah. You can see the auroras. Look, you can see the auroras at the North Pole and the South Pole. Wow. Just like, shut the hell up. You've seen my process of how I edit thumbnails and stuff. I could come up with something pretty close to that with my primitive, with paint. I could do paint. I could use paint and get something pretty close to this. They're like, this is probably Venus. Interesting. Mentioning Venus, the morning star. Who's the morning star? Who's been called the morning star in the Bible? Jesus and Lucifer, huh? And it's Easter Sunday, huh? And you're mentioning Venus a couple days before. I don't know when this. Yeah, 2 days before. There's Venus. Let's see if they have it. Why is it one and done? They take one picture and they make a whole article out of it. Good job, AI. You did great. There it is, blasting forth. They're really if you guys have paid any attention to it, during their launch, when they were supposedly being, starting to reach the upper atmosphere and getting close to exiting orbit, they had the blue screen of death. They were on the Xbox. They were on the original Xbox 360s, and they got the blue screen of death on the way up. So, oh, sorry, I got to cut the feed. Our bandwidth is just taking a hit here. We use dial up. We're still using AOL Online. Sorry, guys. Really
we're using America Online 95. This is AOL Online 95, Windows 95, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, so they ordered, they called into AOL and they're getting a disc sent in the mail. So hopefully we'll be getting some better images when they get that back up and running. I didn't understand that as a kid. Like I would get the mail and there's like CDs in the mail. I'm like, what is this? Why would they send us a CD? What is it cool? Is it something cool? No.
Yeah. Like they'd send you those trial games for like PlayStation 1 and stuff. They'd send you like those trial there'd be like a bunch of games on the disc so you could play a bunch of different ones. Way back in the day.
Look at the strong jaw on that woman. Oh yeah, and the apparently Earth. So clearly Earth. View of Christina's cock. I mean, Christina Coke. Yeah. We had bathroom issues on the Artemis 2. Christina cock clogged up the hole in there, but we got it fixed. 3220.
Christina Wiena's got some leakage problems.
Christina's weenus. I mean, Christina's penis. I mean, Christina cock. I mean, fuck.
Lady Cock. Lady Cox.
It was a tough transition for her, from our practice sessions to the real thing. She had a hard time transitioning. You know what I mean? Look at this.
Yeah, it's really hard to transition out there in space,
Look at Orion's solar array. Look at that thing. Look at this and then go look at like a suburban housing development. Like, damn, I didn't know NASA made everybody's solar panels. They got better looking solar panels than NASA. Holy shit. I mean, have you ever seen the lighting fixtures at like a fancy bar that like hang down from the ceiling? That's the same material they use for their thrusters. So it's like, wow, we're getting space age material in our home deco. So like we're in the future, guys. We're in the future because like that's crazy, bro. That's sick.
Thrusters. I just think of that word, thrusters.
I'm sure.
Busters.
Christina's cock.
There's a lot of thrusting in there. She's really thrusting out there in outer space.
Can somebody do a detailed breakdown? She's just playing Flappy Bird or something. She's just playing Candy Crush. We're out of bandwidth, guys. We can't look out the window. She's just hitting the Candy Crush. Can somebody do a detailed analysis with this picture and go viewing into the reflection on her glasses, please? Stat. In fact, you might even get a good reflection off this weird plastic thing with some scissors. Make sure the scissors aren't flying around. They could impale one of us. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here you go, guys. This is what you paid to see. Look. Isn't it clear? Don't you get it?
That's up there.
There's people wearing merch. Can't you see? Oh, look at that. That looks like outside today.
Yeah.
Apparently we're launching, 50 shuttles a day. A trail of dust. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. That's space dust right there.
Yeah, space dust, yeah.
This guy gets it. Okay. You're cooked. I'm sorry, kiddos. Not only are you, paid informants, but your parents are dragging you into it. Like, what does it say? First of all, you gotta be careful of the wrist tattoos. But yeah. Sorry, kids, you're cooked. You're gonna be raised by a bunch of space believers.
Harry looks like he's fat too. Like, look at him. He's like fat and miserable. It's just what
Dude,
an
he's
awful
pissed.
picture.
He's like, are these guys retarded? Are they seeing the same thing I'm seeing? This is bullshit. Give me some blocks. I can make something better than that. And also, it's like, what are the idea? What's the idea? You know how many failures there have been that are catastrophic? Like, what are the odds this thing blows up and shrapnel just takes these people out?
Right.
Why would you bring your little kids there? They can watch the video. I mean, also, we're talking about this. You know, this is at the Kennedy Space Station in Florida. We did mention this last week, and they got the 33 in there. I don't know what that's for, but it's the Dodgers had the launch. Look at that. It's official. He was at the Dodgers game. So baseball, America. Yeah. Oh, look. The kids are excited. They're in their fake NASA outfits. I'm sure that's not a one of one for this kid in this shot only. I'm sure a lot of kids have this. You see them all over, guys, don't you? Everybody's excited. Look at these guys. They're excited. Look at the diversity. Look at the diverse crowd of excited people. So diverse. They got a guy. They got a guy in a black shirt.
Look at them. They're so proud.
Yep. Look at the diversity. They got a guy with a black and gray hat. They got a guy with just a black hat. They got a guy with a beard. They got a guy who's 5 o'clock shadow. Nothing similar about any of them. Nothing similar here. Nothing similar. This is a diverse crowd of LGBTQ, Muslim, Palestinian sympathizers. That's what you're seeing here. Because they're all one people. This guy's gay as hell speech he gave, this guy right here, this diversity guy, he's just like, what? They were like, what do you see? First of all, turn the damn camera out the window. We don't care. You can talk. You can narrate over as we're watching the space shuttle zoom through space. That's what we'd rather see, but apparently you can't do that. But they're giving these interviews in the cabin, and they're like, what do you see when you look down on Earth? And he's just like, no, he's straight up. He's like, no matter how ugly you are, you're beautiful up here. He said something very similar to that. I was like, damn, just get cooked. I mean, look at this. You wake up, you just roll over, and this is just boom.
They got their orange jumpsuits like they're all in prison.
Absolutely, they are.
They're stuck in the Earth prison. That's why they got a Maki with the orange suits, like a prisoner. You're stuck in the prison.
They're not leaving. Like they're not leaving. You can't get out. Great fucking point. Holy shit! You heard it here first.
Those look like those could be Slipknot jumpsuits too. Almost looks like the first album.
Astro Slipknot.
Astronaut. There it is. Astronaut. Slipknot.
I'm sure there's something to break down with this whole Artemis 2026 thing too. I mean, if you guys aren't already seeing the Masonic compass, I mean, you're tripping. But in fact, even the helmet looks like a G up here. I'm not reaching here. I see it clearly.
Yep.
Interesting. Which, by the way, I think the only star they say that shines in this pattern is like Polaris or something like that. I have to look into it. But like the star shape they use all the time is only attributed to one star, or maybe it's more than one star and I'm tripping, but they use it as if it's every star looks like this when it's not the reality. If you guys haven't seen what stars look like when they zoom into them, they look like gas, like bubbles of different colors. They're not white. The light they give off is like not white. Or I'm saying all these things kind of playing devil's advocate. I don't believe in these things necessarily. Wow, she's excited. Look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at all these. Look at this crowds of excited people. Look at this. There's a launch going on. Look at this. Wow. This is humanity, guys. Look at what they're showing you. Not even the lemmings can crane their head up to look at the propaganda. The propaganda here is too strong. The propaganda in their lap is apparently just too strong. Looks like this guy's wearing a 56 jersey. I don't know. It's some Hispanic name, and good luck cross-referencing a Hispanic name in baseball nowadays.
They're so excited for the blast off. They can't even see it. Their all faces are down. Everyone's looking at their phone, just looking down. Like, what? I'm not.
Except for this guy.
Man, I'm not watching nothing.
This guy's in on it. Spot the informant. I don't know. Where's he at? It's like a Where's Waldo photo. Okay, zooming in. Okay, this guy is. Why are you here, bro? You're staking the joint or something? All right. Anyway. Wow, look at that. Proof. They can make cylinders. It's just a coincidence. It looks like a missile, guys. It's just a coincidence. They can make them any shape they want. All right.
It's all part of the science, man.
We got Joaquin Boaz and the Stairway to Heaven. You know. Look at that. That's where we're headed. It's right there. It's close as it's gonna get.
We'll get up on that moon. We'll start moonwalking.
Oh my God, what is this? This guy could care less. Something's going on down here, and he's like, "Yo, homie, what are you doing?" This is just give it up. Yeah, I want to high five this guy. Yeah, me too. She's like, what? This guy's like, I guess I'll take one.
It's like they're the Blue Man Group.
It's just, guys, do you understand that this is a split-second photography staged photo? They're not like continuously talking to these kids. They're just like posing them, and then they're walking away. These kids are probably live underground. I wish I could joke about this kind of stuff anymore. Look at this. Wow.
They're beautiful orange suits like we're going to prison.
Cock, Hansen, Wise Man, Oliver. You know, there's a joke in there somewhere. You got Wise Man, you got Hansen, like your hands in Oliver Cock. A wise man puts his hands in Oliver Cock. I don't know. There it is.
So big and beautiful.
There it is.
Look at the intensity.
That's a better picture than yeah. Look at this. Okay, they're just playing CS:GO. They're just playing League of Legends or something. We did it, guys. It worked.
We landed out in the ocean. They picked us up.
Yeah, we're not doing all of this out in the ocean. You know, don't compare our underwater training to what we show you in space. Okay, don't do that. That's not cool, bro.
It's a carrot.
Oh yeah. Hands on her hips, people. You cover up that big glorious cock of yours, and all the men put your hands on your hips and listen to that black man speak. All right, that's your job. Look at this motherfucker, dude. Chill.
Yeah,
your teeth are popping out of your face, you lizard.
Like, what's that lady looking at too? She got that smirk on her face, like yeah.
I think my cock's bigger than hers.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, CNN Science. That's awesome. That's awesome. So anyway, what do you guys think about? There's a lot to go. Which, by the way, shout out to Zach. He ended up covering actually quite a lot of this mission. Not like the finer details, but I know he did cover the toilet breaking, and they just have to tell you it's a 32 or 23, one of those two. I think a 32 million, 23 million dollar toilet that was made just for space. It's just like, oh, okay. Obviously, they're just telling you that, they're wiping their ass with millions of dollars. But apparently it broke. But they got it fixed. Luckily, they had a licensed plumber, Mrs. Cock. She had her caulking gun. She was able to fix it up.
Yeah, she plunged that hole pretty good with her cack.
Plunged my cock right in there and just squirted right into the crack, and it fixed her right up.
She's a magician. I tell you, she's a pro.
Yeah, I would trust her with my shower, I'm sure. So anyway, moving on from that, hopefully that was entertaining enough as it was for us. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this whole thing? That's the whole goal was also, I was gonna sit here and rant and rave. That was a little bit more funner, more fun, whatever you want to say, than just ranting and raving about it, about where people are at and how they can still give this stuff any kind of energy or anything like that. But might as well make a comedy out of it rather than sit there and fester. But yeah, might as well enter into our nightcap here. Of course, this being 4/5, it being, like I said, one of the holidays of the year, especially for our channel. If you know our humble beginnings, you will know that we started our first 3 episodes really and continuously covered multiple things about Kurt Cobain. But our first 2 episodes were central and focused on the Kurt Cobain thing, which we did some pretty good work on it as something to go back and watch and, kind of see the beginning of where we're at. And as much as I like to look ahead and see where we're going, there is part of me that kind of wants to readopt kind of the style we had when we first started. I think that there's room for a lot of different things that we do. And I really did like our initial style. So who knows, maybe that'll weave its way back in, but maybe this will be our little ritualistic reprisal from our early. This is us paying homage. And we're following suit with the overlords. We're trying to be like them. We're paying homage to our, somebody decoding our episode will be like, oh, look, they're talking about this. And this is, 412 days since Logan's birthday. And yeah, anyway, so God forbid there's a decode for what we're doing. Anyway, why I mention this is not only because, they'll make a stink of it every April 5th until the end of time, I'm sure. But in case you were looking for an update, we mentioned this earlier at the beginning of the year because you made a brilliant call last year saying that they're not going to let this Kurt Cobain thing go, and that 2026 is an opportune time for them to bring it back. And if you guys are aware, in early January, a group of independent investigators were pressuring Seattle to reopen the Kurt Cobain case. Well, recently, a Utah investigator who was a former Seattle police captain is now pressuring Seattle to reopen the case as a murder. And there's a bunch of new evidence, he says, that he's been compiling that it's already in the hands of Seattle police. So, but he's saying that it has to go through due process. You can't pressure him because he's a captain. He was a former captain, so he's got to do it by the books. And he's basically saying that initially it wasn't their fault for anything that they missed. The guys that were, posing on the crime scene, because you can do the same thing. If you want, if you ever come across a crime scene and there's crime scene tape everywhere, go up and tap a cop on the shoulder and be like, hey, can I walk the crime scene and take some photos with you guys? And then they love it when you do that. They're, come on in, get down there with
They
that
encourage you. They encourage you.
Yeah.
Come on in, give them a nice smile, do your move, show them what you got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they love it. So hopefully you guys are keen to what we're talking about. But talking about the initial photography photos given from the crime scene with all the detectives playing, having a nice little fun photo shoot at the supposed gruesome crime scene. But anyway, saying there's new evidence, and we could read this whole thing. I'm not super keen on doing that unless this really truly, until the day this comes to fruition. But basically the gist of what they're saying is, of what he's saying, is that there's enough of a clause or a reason to reopen this just based on evidence that was left out, not for anyone's fault at the time, but that new evidence has come forward and new people have come forward. And they say that there's I think they said up to 8 or 9 people that were aware of an assault that took place around the day or the night he died, which is very interesting if you're aware of the original story, because they basically say he came straight from the psychiatric ward that he got out of, straight to, maybe he stopped at a store or something, but he went and got his shotgun and went into the greenhouse. They didn't say that he stopped and had a party with 9 people, but apparently 9 other people were aware of his existence at his house or around his house or at somebody else's house, and that he was assaulted that day. So there was some sort of altercation. No names were named, obviously. And also that, what was the other detail? Oh, the forgery of his suicide note. Which has been a theory for a long time that the whole thing is a forgery, but they're saying just these last 4, the ones that are obvious, which is funny. I mean, the whole letter, he does a C. First of all, he has terrible penmanship. Let's just start there. Okay. Let's start with a little tacky judgment about this guy. If this is him writing, God damn.
Yeah, that's the key word. If it is him.
I mean, obviously, whoever wrote this has terrible penmanship. I don't care if you're about to, eat the barrel of a Remington. You better. That's what I'm going to instill in my kids. Even if you're about to end it, this is terrible. I shouldn't say that. At least have some good penmanship. Anyway, so the validity of this has already been called into question by a lot of people. This is days after. When they released this initially, people were like, no, that's not right. But what he's saying is it's forensically true that these last 4 phrases are not his handwriting. It's actually forensically proven that this was written not at the same time as this, not by the same person. So that right then and there, that shows that there's some sort of weird thing. Let's just play devil's advocate. We're in the CSI unit, okay? We're not me and Austin who are looking out from 1,000 feet back. We're right up in it, and we're saying, "Oh wow, this is different, forensically proven." That's what they're saying. And so I figured, let's just read it, because the whole story about we've talked about this. Obviously, I kind of led up with that we've talked about this pretty heavily, and we've broken down a lot. A lot of the surrounding things between Courtney Love and Billy Corgan and Dave Grohl and who was the other?
Chris Novoselic and
the woman who said I think was in the band with Courtney Love or was in the other band.
Yeah. She was
said that they were gonna meet up and run away, and she died.
Yeah. Why can't I think of her name right now?
Was she in the band Hole or?
Yep, she was. Yep, and she died in the. Yeah, and she had her van, or I think her van or whatever, truck or whatever she had. She was planning to go to Minnesota, move to Minnesota the next day or whatever, and she had her stuff all packed. And then they found her dead in the bathtub. Kristen Paff.
Yeah, there you go.
With a P.
And yeah, so we've covered a lot of that good stuff. But one thing I don't think we discussed is, or we discussed earlier, one thing we haven't done is actually just read the whole note. We talked about it, but we haven't read it. So let me read it real quick, and then I'll let you have the floor on this because I've been yapping. My bad. Let me make this a little bigger so you can read along. So it says to Bada, and if you guys don't know, it's Buddha. But that's his like imaginary best friend, which I can't stop. Here's the thing. I just got to read it because I want to stop after every fucking word sometimes. All right. To Buddha, speaking from the tongue of an experienced simpleton who obviously would rather be an emasculated, infantile complainee. This note should be pretty easy to understand. All the warnings from the Punk Rock 101 courses over the years, since my first introduction to the, shall we say, ethics involved with the independence and the embracement of your community has proven to be very true. I haven't felt the excitement of listening to as well as creating music along with reading and writing for too many years now. I feel guilty beyond words about these things. For example, when we're backstage and the lights go out and the manic roar of the crowd begins, it doesn't affect me in the way which it did for Freddie Mercury. Keep in mind, he brings up Mercury. Anyway, who seemed to relish in the love and adoration from the crowd, which is something I totally admire and envy. The fact is, I can't fool you, any one of you. It simply isn't fair to you or me. The worst crime I can think of would be to rip people off by faking it and pretending as if I'm having 100% fun. Sometimes I feel as if I should have a punch-in time clock before I walk out on stage. I've tried everything within my power to appreciate it, and I do. God, believe me, I do, but it's not enough. I appreciate the fact that I and we have affected and entertained a lot of people. It must be one of those narcissists who only appreciates things when they're gone. That's a weird way of saying it. I'm too sensitive. I need to be slightly numb in order to regain the enthusiasms I once had as a child. On our last 3 tours, I've had a much better appreciation for all people I've known personally. And as fans of our music, which also isn't that weird, because wasn't he on tour when he like almost OD'd in Rome? Or was he just visiting Rome?
No, they were on tour. That was March 4th. Yeah, March 4th of 94 when
34 like Nirvana.
Yep, 34 like yep, that's when they that was the first attempt on his life there with Courtney Love and stuff there. Yeah, they just their last show they did the one in Seattle on January 8th, and I think their last show was March 1st, and I can't remember where it was. It was our last show was on the 1st, March 1st. Wherever it was Rome or Germany or wherever they were. I can't remember.
Ireland would be interesting. But this is where it gets a little cringe, guys. And more cringe. On our last 3 tours, I've had a much better appreciation for all the people I've known personally and as fans of our music, but I still can't get over the frustration, the guilt, and empathy I have for everyone. Oh, he's just so good. There's good in all of us, and I think I simply love people too much. Ask any female what her biggest flaw is. I just love too much. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you know. Anyway. So much that it makes me feel too fucking sad. The sad little sensitive, unappreciative Pisces. Jesus, man. If you guys get that joke, let me know. I'm not going to spoil it. Let me know in the comments if you get the Pisces Jesus, man joke there. When I was reading this earlier, I was like, because I've read it before, but I wasn't in the mindset of like thinking about every word he said or like decoding it necessarily. Not that I am now, but I thought that was quite funny. If you know, you know. Let me know if you get the Pisces Jesus man joke. Why don't you just enjoy it? I don't know. I have a goddess of a wife. Okay. Who sweats ambition and empathy, and a daughter who reminds me too much of what I used to be, full of love and joy, kissing every person she meets because everyone is good and will do her no harm. And that terrifies me to the point to where I can barely function. I can't stand the thought of Francis becoming the miserable, self-destructive death rocker that I've become. It's so sick. I have it good, very good, and I'm grateful. But since the age of 7, I've become hateful towards all humans in general. Keep this in mind. This is why they're saying this doesn't add up with the last 4 sentences. Anyway, I become hateful to all humans in general, only because it seems just humans is a weird word to use there. Just keep that in mind. Anyway,
The wording is weird, yeah, with a lot of this.
only because it seems so easy for people to get along that have empathy. Only because I love and feel sorry for people too much, I guess, which it's weird. He's saying he has empathy throughout the entire letter, but then he says he has no empathy. He feels hateful towards everybody. That's not empathy. That is not,
Right.
That is the opposite. So, and then he even says right after that, he can't get along with people that have empathy. Even though this whole letter, he says that he has too much empathy. He's too empathetic. Thank you from the pit of my burning, nauseous stomach for your letters and concern during the past years. I'm too much of an erratic, moody baby. I don't have the passion anymore. And so remember, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Peace, love, empathy. There it is again. Kurt Cobain. Francis and Courtney, I'll be at your altar. Which is another weird thing. Like, I guess they spell check it too, because they should have added the misspellings and stuff like that. Because he spells altar Altar, which I don't know if there's a different word. Altar. I thought altar was spelled Altar. Anyway, please keep going, Courtney, for Francis, for her life, which will be so much happier without me. I love you. I love you. But yeah, clearly, if you guys can see that, Altar. There's no way that's an E. So let's see. What is?
Yeah, and how do they know how accurate all that is? Anyways, I mean, some of it's hard to read, but
yeah, they use the spell they in the edit. They use alter as in change. He definitely, or the letter definitely is meaning an altar, as in like a shrine. For okay, all right. Yeah, you're gonna be at the altar, all right. For as long as your name has relevance. But yeah, I mean, if you sit here and try to read it, it's like you can make it out, but it's just like it gets bad. It's just like it's interesting. So yeah, guys, don't forget. Let us know in the comments. I mean, anything. Let us know things that we don't catch too, for sure, about this note. But yeah, let us know if you get the Pisces Jesus man joke. But yeah, the whole thing is pretty much a mockery. He mentions Freddie Mercury and what is that? What does it say right there? I'm at the point I can't like zoom into it. Pro X new pro. Looks like new right there. I don't know. Roar. What even starts with pro? Oh, pro. Looks like pro something X new. I don't know. Anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you guys look at it, the C's are constantly like, look at his stomach, C, concern, 2 C's, perfectly rounded. Courtney, boom, a greater than symbol. Sure. Also, it's just like he stops punctuating. Like, someone's got to look into maybe the doctor chased him down. Maybe the doctor from the psych ward chased him down, because doctors, they use a shorthand. So maybe the doctor forged this note.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look like doctor writing. How doctors write and sign. Yeah, I mean, the wording it's very strange too. I mean, it's
very strange.
Like the narcissist part. Like, what is he even talking about there? Like, who's he's talking? He's the narcissist, or like, what does that even mean? Like, the wording and a lot of it's very, very strange.
Let's see where it was. Is right there. A lot of people. Where was it? Okay. See, it clearly, I must be one of those narcissists, but this says it must be one of those narcissists. So careful, guys. Just try your best to read this letter, not the transcript, because I guess they had AI do it. I must be one of those narcissists who only appreciate things when they're gone. Which he capitalizes the G in gone? I don't know. I mean, I've known plenty of people that had like, first of all, I write in all caps. I have written in all caps since like 7th grade. And I was a pretty good writer, and I would purposely take a hit on my score because they would grade me poorly for not punctuating correctly and granted, I make a bigger letter, all caps letter for the capital letter, but I would still get good grades in English because I was good at writing, but I refused to write. I just wrote in all caps. But this is like, I guess, I don't know. It just, I don't personally understand it because I've always been a decent writer. Like, I can write perfectly fine no matter when. I can pick up a pen and start writing. Sometimes I gotta shake a little bit of rust off because I don't write enough anymore. But I pick it back up pretty easily. But I don't just like randomly punctuate where it's not supposed to be. I wouldn't. So like, he punctuates God, but then gone things when they're gone. Why don't you use the lowercase g? I mean, I could hazard a guess as to why he didn't. Like right here, he just capitalizes every G. Good. You don't need to capitalize that, brother. But then look, and I'm grateful with the lowercase g. You could just, I could be nitpicking. That's fine. That's just,
Like, was he in a hurry when he wrote this? Like,
what hurry? According to the story, nobody knew he was there. He was there for 3 days because nobody knew he was there.
yeah. And when did this whole thing get written too? If he did write it, it's possible he wrote some of it, at different times too. Not, that bottom part obviously doesn't match, but I mean, you read what he's writing. I mean, like, you see where he's, he kind of transitions through some things, but it's like, okay, when was this all done in one take, one setting? Was he high when he wrote this? If he did write it, was he, well, like, when was this written? I mean, this could have been written, but before things really happened. I mean, this could have been written like in like February of '94 or something, or early March. So, because there was a post on, it was on because email came out in '93, and the internet came out there in August of '95, and then he had an email in '94. It was in March, and then it was talking about how he was based off of what it was saying he was like excited, looking forward to like the internet and like being able to use that, you know, as a tool, and then how he was looking forward to their next album, or the new album, or their maybe their final album there in 95. He was talking about like an album coming out in 95, or well, maybe their last album or whatever, but that's what he was like talking about in the email. So like I don't know, it kind of seems like the in the email he was more like upbeat compared to like this. So maybe, I mean, it also kind of contradicts you know, the email to this letter, but you know, that's the thing, you know, did he write this letter, and when did, you know, the email I would say is probably more legit because it's, you know, an old email, so he probably did write that. But then if you look at this, I mean, you know, how much of this did he write? Did he write it? Was it even him? When was it written? So
Where is it at? Oh shit. What I wanted to say, that if it wasn't written there, he does definitely have like a briefcase or something that nobody said anything about, because that paper is like pristine. Not even folded or anything. I don't know where to find this particular email.
I heard about it a long time ago, so it might be harder to find now.
I mean, it says this, but here, let's just open it in the. Oops, not the damn link. Okay, that's big enough. So this is what they're saying was his last message to his fans. So this is the information highway our illustrious VP has been drawing to the nation about. Which, who is he under? What record company? I knew at one point. I just thought it's Nirvana record label.
Sub Pop and
Geffen.
Geffen, yeah.
There's that capital G.
Yeah, there's the capital G.
Sub Pop and DGC Records. Okay, so it would have been DGC Records. DGC Records Vice President at 94. Oh, so it was David Geffen. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys can't make this shit up. His price is with Steven Spielberg with DreamWorks. We're talking about the moon right now. That's crazy.
And DreamWorks, The Ring.
Yeah, good.
The
point.
Ring.
Yeah, that's absolutely
the 45.
Okay, Paul, who knew that? Who knew that the vice president of his label was with Steven Spielberg doing DreamWorks during this exact time?
And that's what they show in The Ring too, with the well closing and the moon, the moon crescent there. So yeah, you get it all right there. Yep, it all came together.
Okay, wow. We'll have to look at this David Geffen character. So let's see. A VP has been drawing to the nation about. Well, my manager told me some kind of fan thing was going down here because that was very popular back when at the very early beginning of the. Uh, it was like there was like email, but what's the other word for it? It wasn't like internet based, but it was like damn it, what's that shit called? It was like the predecessor to like messaging boards, like boards. What are those things called? Message boards? Yeah, message boards. Like you could have message boards. Maybe that was early internet though. That might have been the very start of the internet was message boards. So the
whatever the email thing was called, the emails or whatever came out, and the ability for that came out in '93. I think this is the only one that he did or that I know of was the one in like March of '94, the one in '94. But
well, this is playing out. This is reading like a message board because those were really popular, and they like early on. These message boards were for like fans. They were like the early internet was like for fans. I'm not even joking, guys. Go look this stuff up. It wasn't people trying to like necessarily commingle and things like that. It was like to get your entertainment better. It was like to be closer with your entertainment. And the reason why is because they had a bunch of popular actors and musicians have a message board. When the internet first came out, a lot of them had message boards so that you could potentially talk to your favorite star, is to get people to sign up to have email or to have internet. But yeah, this sounds like this was on a message board. That's what this is. I'm pretty sure. It even says Kurt Cobain's last message. Like, how would he be sending a message to everybody's email? No, I think this was a message board that they had, like just a website, like a nirvana.com. And you go on there and there's like a message board. Anyway. Well, here I am. Anyway, sorry. Well, here I am. I'd be lying if I said I'm not surprised to see the band's popularity reaching even into the depths of the electronic underworld. I'm almost positive this is a message board made specifically for Nirvana. Well, I won't keep you people long, but I thought you might be interested in what the band is up to. Last month, Chris, B, and Dave came out of a London bridge, finishing up a revamped Penny Royalty. That's pretty funny. I never knew that song. That's obviously a play on words. Penny Royalty.
Yep.
It's funny he makes a song about royalties when I'm sure Dave Grohl's sitting pretty on Nirvana royalties. I didn't much care for how we did the album version and thought we could have done much better with the song. Geffen should have that. If I just kept reading, Geffen should have that out shortly, knowing the speed with which their money machine rolls. We're all taking a break from the music and touring for a bit. Okay, that doesn't add up, but I'm still a little freaked over the Rome thing. I need some time to rest and get over it. That's pretty candid. You'd think they could make a good milkshake, but no. I hope you people are ready for a calmer, moodier album. Yep, Nirvana's going back into the studio and at the end of the summer. I'm already working on the new songs and artwork for the new album. If you're expecting the same verse, chorus, verse, well, I suppose you have but two choices. Don't buy the new album when it's released in early 95, or get used to the fact that the band is changing. Longevity, folks. Isn't that just like selling out?
Yeah, it's a really, yeah, it's weird because it's like, here's the thing, it's like you read this, then you read the letter, it's like,
I was going to say that, yep.
So what is what here, you know? Like, you don't, like, what am I looking at? So it sounds like he's like retiring and getting, he's leaving and going away. If you look at the letter, like he's just kind of done with it all. But then here he's talking about there's going to be a new album in maybe March or April of 95 coming out, whatever. And they're going into the studio in the summer of 94. And it's, going to be released on, maybe the Ides of March or 3/22 or 4/1 or 4/05 95 or something, or April 19th. Maybe they're going to do April 29th, whatever the date that was going to be. So yeah, like, he's talking like he's like upbeat in this because he's talking, oh yeah, the future, yeah, the internet and the technology and all this stuff, and yeah, this new stuff's cool, and ways to, what I'm going to be, the life I'm be going in, coming into the internet and all this stuff in 95 when all this takes off. And, he's talking about the album, he's talking about, the future and going forwards. But then, and this, this is, right after the, the Rome thing there. So, at this point, he's only got days, weeks to live. Depending on the exact date this was. I think this was like mid-March. This was at somewhere around there. So, a couple weeks left to go. But then, you look at the note, and it's just everything here is just contradictory. So it's like you don't even have a basis of like what to believe or what to look at.
You're absolutely right. And this David Geffen character is the richest man in entertainment industry. How does he get by without his name being everywhere? You've got another Lawrence. How often do you see two Lawrences in the same day with two completely different stories? Yeah, let's take a little peeky here. He founded Asylum Records too, so that's just jokes on jokes. But
it's got that 97 like Kurt Donald Cobain.
Yeah, he sure does. I was going to mention that. And there's 56, 80. You know what's funny? He's 83 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was wondering when's he turning 84. I seen that. When's he going 84?
Let's see.
When's your birthday, bro?
February 22nd.
Oh, 2 days after Kurt. Got about almost another year.
Pay attention, people. This would be a big name, and no one would bat an eye at an 83-year-old. Interesting. Wow. Steven Spielberg and him, huh? And Steven Spielberg just put out Disclosure Day. If you guys remember, I briefly covered that movie, not because I watched it or anything, but because they put it into my YouTube watch history, saying I watched the full. I'm talking the red line was from the end to from the beginning to the end, saying I watched their preview, and I proved that I didn't watch it. I could even show it in the history that I didn't truly watch it, but if there it was in my history saying I watched it, and which I ended up watching it because I was curious afterwards and I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. But so Spielberg's still cooking them up. I am probably gonna end up watching that movie too. I watch like a movie every a few months, maybe. But one thing I was going to mention is that this guy's definitely Jewish, and it says right here, it talks about. I mean, I knew that just from the borough that he grew up in New York. But I mean, you could draw some conclusions any way you wanted to on this one. It wasn't too hard. But
yeah, born a day after Kurt. So you got born the next day. I mean, how many times do we see stuff like this where it's like the next day or the day before? It's like we're talking with an NASCAR, which was exactly what you had. You had a half birthday that just took place the day before, and then you have the birthday come up the next day. So it's like Bell and Briscoe. It's the day apart there.
That's it. Yeah. Geffen's got that those suicide numbers.
Got the Nirvana right in there.
Absolutely.
The 119.
Yeah, this might be worth a little rabbit hole. Somehow this guy eluded my knowledge of him. He's incredibly famous. He's supposedly. Very interesting. Interesting how they do it, huh? You can be this wildly rich and famous and not be that famous and just just out of the limelight to do what you need to do. And Asylum Records too. That's hilarious. What a crazy rap. That wrapped up so weird. Like to me, that is extremely strange. Not to mention his name is Lawrence, and we just covered another Lawrence, Mr. Cletus. But to be talking about the moon and obviously the fake moon landing being the thing and it being directed by Steven Spielberg in most people's eyes, and to find out that this man at this time, you know, just to come upon him when the Artemis 2 is going, and he co-founded DreamWorks, and like you mentioned, absolutely the ring and their moon symbolism as well as their clear, like, man, we really broke it down so well in that video. I'd hate to do it.
Yeah, that was all synced up with Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley for the 5th, and how they really just set that whole thing up with 9/11. It was really Kurt Cobain, Nirvana. It was 9/11, and we even had COVID too. I mean, 2002, same thing as 2020, the same numbers, just switched around there at the end. Plus October 18th, it comes out, and then October 18th, 2019, 17 days later, or 17 years later, you have Event 201 on that day. So you have the October 18th connection. You have Event 201. You got 17 like Kill, like Samara.
Mm-hmm.
So you got all that. You got the Lane Staley in there where it was filmed there, they did it with filmed it in 2001 while 9/11 was going on in that 9 months. The 9 months where it was being filmed, 9/11 happens, and then Lane Staley's alive, and then it comes out there in late 2002, and then next thing you know, it's Lane Staley's dies, and he dies after that the Kurt Busch ritual. 12 days later, Lane Staley's dead. Then at the end of the season, the ring comes out, and Kurt Busch is winning everything, winning 3 out of the 5 races. Biggest win streak and tear in his career.
He's married to a porn star. He just divorced this person last year with no prenup. Somebody's rich, but who is this Donovan Michaels? Excuse me. No, I'm playing sheepish here. That Donovan Michaels? No, I've never heard of this person, and I wouldn't know it because of pornography either, but I don't know. Let's try a Google search. How do I set this up to where it doesn't like show stuff? Donovan Michaels.
Much up here, dude.
I swear that's why I'm looking it up. Estranged husband. Yeah. What was it last week? There was some gay shit last week too. I don't remember.
Come on, Donovan Mitchell, show yourself. Show your manly physique to us all. Those you're packing.
Donovan Michaels. I'm scared to hit. Okay, I hit it anyway. That was scary. Okay, so he's a lot younger. So that was a little snack. I don't even want to talk about it, bro. I don't want to know the dynamics. I don't care. I don't.
Listen to my husband. I feel like tonight was honestly like just a weird vibe, like a weird. It was like mostly like gay. It's like it wasn't even like we weren't even trying to do this tonight. We're supposed to have somebody. This is what it turned into. It turned into this weird weird. I don't know.
Stream.
We talk about weird things. Like everything's just getting so weird, but it's just like I don't even know. It's just we've really reached a whole new point tonight. It's just like I don't even know anymore.
I like how it's like doesn't even say just like flaming homo at the beginning. Like, how does it not even mention he's gay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what he said. We looked at the name, and it's like, why just be a man? Why just be a dude? It's like, yeah, you've been this guy your whole life. You're this
Not
famous,
just a
you got this money,
dude.
and your husband's you got a husband, and he's a porn star, and he's
I would hazard to guess that he is a gay porn star too.
right. How are they not doing stuff together? I mean, Donovan Michael Mitchell. That's not feminine. That's not a female name. When I heard that, it's like, it's gonna be like Christina Cox.
David Geffen allegedly demanded sexual domination over 32-year-old husband in messy divorce. Oh, don't call it messy.
Oh God.
Oh. David, your philosophy bag spilling again.
We went down the homo hole tonight.
Quite a few of them. With a face like that, he's been through a few homo holes. What is this little bracelet they got on here? Like a little gay old white guy bracelet.
No,
Gay
what is
Jews.
that?
Gay Jews for Netanyahu. I don't know what this is. He made him like change his appearance. It's like, okay, yeah, he made you. I'm sure it was just so tough to have unlimited black Visa card access and just do what you were already doing. What I'm sure he went from getting pounded by dudes twice his size. He probably didn't even feel little old David Geffen. He's probably this is a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about it, but I am. So I'm sorry, guys. You're along for the ride, just like our boy Donovan.
Yeah.
Wow. So Spielberg was just hanging around with like a overtly sexual gay man and decided to partner with him for DreamWorks. I wonder what effect that has had in any of our programming, guys. Is DreamWorks not like the one that's putting out all these LGBT movies nowadays for kids? Yeah, they are. Or they're inserting kids movies LGBT. Oh, and How to Train Your Dragon 2. How to Train Your Dragon. Oh my God, I never thought about that sentence before. Oh, Donovan was teaching him how to train his dragon. Oh God, and it's toothless. The dragon is toothless.
Oh my gosh.
Hell no. Belch. Oh my gosh. These guys. Oh boy. But yes,
How
DreamWorks
to
is
train and how to drain your dragon. Train your dragon.
Drain.
They were training and draining the drain the dragon. This is drain the dragon.
Guys. That could very well be the title of our episode. If you make it this far, I sincerely apologize, but that might just be too good. That honestly, and for the weirdly themed episode we had tonight, you'd have to make it this far to understand, and we hope you do. But I say we leave it on that, dude. That's too good.
I don't think you can top it any better than that. I don't think you could make it any better.
Oh my goodness. Well,
it's an ace in the hole. You know what I mean?
Any final quips or words before we close this puppy out?
Yeah. My gosh, what an episode tonight. The 4 or 5. I mean,
Yeah, like I said, we're supposed to have Talia on. Hopefully, she does come on here soon. It's we get a woman, we get some feminine vibe or something. And it just turned into a homo show tonight. Just turned into the gay show. It just turned into this. Yeah,
It's
I don't
only a
even know.
matter of time. Two guys hang out long enough. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, this is it wasn't your normal 4 or 5. I mean, if we're talking about your Kurtz and your Lanes and everything else we talked about on this date that goes down, and I mean this whole I don't know. I mean, even yesterday, it started to get weird. It started to get goofy, especially since I sent you all that stuff that happened yesterday, and just like all the weirdness and the goofiness, and it just dragged into today, into this show, and I don't know. It's just not much more to say. Yeah, just I mean, hopefully, I mean, unexpected turns tonight, unexpected kind of night, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, hopefully, people, got some. It's kind of a comedy night too. Got some laughter, got some joking. We got, it's kind of a different vibe than
Absolutely.
usually what we have. So it was kind of good. It was just kind of unforeseen, I guess, kind of an unpredictable episode for what you would expect for 4 or 5, the 95th day of the year. That because I mean everything we had a lot of great info tonight, especially with the NASCAR and stuff. So we made the most of tonight, but it really I guess it really got wild.
Hopefully not as wild as some of the scenes that Donovan had to live up to.
Yeah.
We thank you guys for hanging out with us, and hopefully you did catch some of the prompts as we went and can get to us in the comments or email. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully tonight's episode wasn't too crazy. Hopefully you guys can chuckle along with us. But yeah, with that being said, we hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back for 4/12. Did I do that math right?
Yep, 4/12.
7 days. All right, guys, take it easy.
Yep. Peace.